Don't you find it annoying when your AI won't give you the same high quality output one day when it was working amazing just the other day? Now, using skills inside Claude, you don't have to worry about typing the same detailed prompt every single time. That is a problem of the past. Now, for this video, I need to head down to Wellington and get the help of our automation and AI expert, Warwick. Hey, Warwick.
Hey, Paul.
I'm really excited to be here in Wellington, not just for this video, but because Warwick is joining us on the MinorCo YouTube channel to produce regular content to teach you all about automation and AI.
I'm really excited about what we're going to produce and the content that we're going to put out there. I've had so many ideas rummaging in my head for the last 6 years that I've been working with MinorCo. If you have any questions or any comments about what you'd like to see, any burning desires that you'd like to understand about AI, leave them in the comment section below.
Warwick was actually the first person I ever hired to join us at MinorCo, so you guys are in great hands. I'm looking forward to seeing what Warwick does for the YouTube channel. You're in great hands. Have fun.
Before we get into building our first skill, what exactly is a skill? Think of it like a standard operating procedure, but for AI. Most businesses already have SOPs for how they handle onboarding, or how they respond to a complaint, or how they run a client meeting. A skill is the same idea, except instead of telling a person how to do something, you're telling Claude. But here's why this matters. Without skills, the quality of what Claude produces depends entirely on how well the person prompting it knows what they're doing. Your best prompter gets great results. Someone new to the tool gets something generic. And even your best prompter will get inconsistent results if they're just typing from memory each time. With skills, you take that expertise out of any one person's head and lock it into the tool. That means the person who's best at that thing, you get to capture that insight. Reusing that person's talent, the knowledge travels with the workflow, not with the individual. Now that you know what a skill is, let's talk about how to actually build one. And stick around till the end because I'll show you my 3 favorite skills that we use on a daily basis. The first thing to get right is choosing the right task. You want something your team does repeatedly, not a one-off. If someone on your team has asked Claude the same type of question more than 3 times, that's a skill waiting to be written. Good candidates are things like drafting a specific type of email, generating a sales proposal, reviewing work against a set of criteria, or generating a report from raw input. Once you've picked your task, every skill is built from 4 components. The first is the trigger. What tells Claude to use this skill? This is a description of the situations or phrases that should activate it. For example, use this skill whenever someone asks to draft a follow-up email after a client call. Be specific. If you're vague here, Claude won't know when to apply it. The second is the instructions, the step-by-step breakdown of what Claude should actually do. This is the heart of the skill. Think about what your team member, your best team member, does naturally when they approach this task and write that down. What do they check first? What do they always include? What's the order? The third is the output format. What should the result look like? A draft email? A bullet point summary? A set of Asana tasks? Don't leave this open-ended. If you don't specify, Claude will make its own call, and that's where inconsistency creeps back in. The fourth is guardrails. What should Claude never do in this context? This is especially important for anything client-facing. Things like, don't make up specific numbers, don't include pricing without checking, always flag if something is missing rather than guessing. So let's get started on our first skill. You want to choose something that is very specific, that you can give a lot of detail to. This is a process that's specific to MinorCo, the tools that we use and our process, but it's always better to be specific. It leaves less room for creative interpretation from your AI tool of choice, like Claude in this case. It tightens the scope of exactly what you need to occur. Let's go through how that looks. So I've prompted, we need to create a skill. It should do this. It should take a transcript after a sales call and process it, resulting in Pipedrive, our CRM, being updated and next actions being identified. I've told it where it's located, how it's named, what to do with it, finding the deal in Pipedrive, how to do that, being very specific on what kind of deal to look for. I've told it to update the activity as well, and I've included here only add to the existing description, don't overwrite anything. Again, we're trying to control exactly what it's doing so that it doesn't make up its own mind. Then I've told it the next steps that need to occur so that we can keep moving forward with the sales process. And finally, a bit of helpful guidance there, offer to update any relevant empty fields, which is just an extra thing that it can do because it can read everything that's on the deal and can then from there prompt, hey, maybe you want to do these things, which can always be really helpful. So let's send this prompt off and see what Claude then does. It'll process what I've asked it to do. It'll then use its ability to create a skill, and we'll get things ready so that I can then make use of this skill very shortly. Great, so Claude has finished thinking through creating the skill for us, and it's come back saying this is what the workflow looks like. You would then want to read through and make sure, oh yes, this is accurate. If there's any ambiguity or if you don't think that it's gotten it quite right, continue chatting here with Claude and say, actually, could you do this instead? Let's do this way instead. And then it's automatically opened up the skill as well for me to read in full. And here you can see what a skill is. It's that predefined prompt that instead of having to copy and paste into a message every time, it immediately is able to reference the skill from your skill database. And you can have a read through here just to make sure that it hasn't gotten anything wrong. Maybe if it's hallucinated something and inserted something that you don't actually need, you could then say, oh, let's remove this part. Otherwise, what you can do if you're ready is save the skill, which adds it to your database of skills, ready for use. Here's where most teams drop the ball, because you have your skill, you're ready to go, but you never refine it. You never take the time to think, wait, should this be working this way? Is this the best way for this to work through this process? So what we suggest is take some time, run some of these through the skill, look at the output that's coming out, and then give it feedback. Claude's able to build the skill for you. Claude can make updates to the skill for you. Remember, a new skill is always version 1 when it first gets made. Just like you get app updates for apps on your phone, every update to your skill is going to make it better. So you've built your skill. How do you use it for the first time? Well, there are 2 ways. One is to just use natural language. This is how I prefer to do it. I talk to Claude and I say, hey, I've just had a call with Paul and I'd like to process the transcript so that I can update the deal in Pipedrive. It will then go through and use that information to figure out how to use the skill. The other way that you can do it is manually invoking it with a / and then either choosing it from the list or starting to type out the name and then selecting it. At this point, you could just hit return and it'll prompt you for additional information, or you can now provide that information as well. So sales call review demo, the call that I had with Paul today. That's enough information for it to get started and probably find exactly the call that you're looking for. You can also see skills in the drop-down over here. Now, let's look at some real examples of skills that we've built and use at MinorCo. So the first skill is our proposal generator. This is something that used to take us half an hour plus that can now be done in 5 minutes or less. So the ROI for us is great. Spending some time initially creating the skill, refining it, giving it additional input means that we can save so much time hand over fist into the future. There are a number of steps that occur in here, so it's quite a long skill, but because we're not having to read it and it's Claude that's processing it, it doesn't matter that there's this extra detail. It just means that we're going to get a much better result the very first time that we run it. And so what it's doing is taking details from the deal in Pipedrive, taking details from the call transcript and the sales call, and combining them to then create a proposal that is structured in the way that MinorCo structures our proposals. It's taking a template document, it's filling in that document, it's asking the user for clarification on things like pricing tiers or what should be included. It's potentially making suggestions to the user as well of things that could be included. And from there, creating a file that is ready to go that we can show to a client. Now, this is going to save me a huge amount of time, but it will probably only get me about 80% of the way there. I still want to go in and review what's been created, give it that personal touch, run my human eyes over it and make sure that there's nothing that doesn't quite make sense. But the amount of time that it saved just by getting me to that point is so worth it. And the third skill that we use a lot is our daily triage. This ingests information from a bunch of the different tools that we use. Over here you can see Gmail, Pipedrive, and Asana, and will then give a consolidated view of what's on my plate for today. Doing something like this can take a bit of time to get right, and especially with figuring out exactly what you want it to look like. But if you'd rather not go through the hassle and would just rather us help you set that up, then click on the consulting link down in the description below. Now that you know how to create your first skill, my challenge to you is to do just that. Go find a process that's taking time every week, maybe something that different team members do that you just want to consolidate and standardize, and get started. Don't let the fear of not getting it perfect on the first go be something that stops you. Take some time, figure out what works best. Eventually, you will thank yourself. Thanks for watching my first video on the channel. Make sure to smash that like button. And if you have any feedback or questions, leave a comment down below. We answer them every week. Thanks again, and see you in the next video.